Oh,
Just a heads up.
Yeah, Jace, do we have audio?
We do now. It helps when I turn it on.
Hi.
Oh,
we have audio now. Damn.
Producer error. We were singing the praises of everybody here at Combat Step. We were real happy that they were there. And yet here Jace is silencing the broadcasters. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else in the wonderful world of Magic the Gathering, Dex says here alongside my broadcasting partner, Laura Lynn, as we are resolving a gamble.
Yeah, I am here. Turn one gamble from the Borborygmos. If they used the Lotus Color or something like that, or had a secondary source of mana, which they might be sandbagging, I'm wondering if this is a crypt or a study that they're going to deploy turn one. There's a Flooded Strand. I'm willing to bet that that is not what they gambled for. I expect to see a big play. That's the second time I've seen today Borborygmos deck resolve a... Oh, there's the crypt. Let's see a petal. Oh, Signet. Arcane Signet. Damn, I'm good at this.
Very good. Congratulations on understanding the cards and being able to see them.
Yep. Well, I'm like 30 seconds behind, so a lot of this is speculative guessing.
All right. Well, we're going to go into Thrasios Vial's turn. Mana Crypt, Arcane Signet, Birds of Paradise, pass. Land, going landless on turn one from Sanguine. Ooh, wow. That is dangerous.
I don't think I would keep a hand like that. I think that can be tempting, but one Bowmasters. I suppose you're the only player with Bowmasters. Never mind. I might play that.
Very greedy keep, but very potentially a game winner with being able to produce 4 mana after turn one. Looks like we are getting a turn one Thrasios from the Dargo Thrasios. We've got a fetch land, and then followed up with a Mox Amber. Everybody at this table is just ramping, and we'll see where it ends up.
Yeah, a lot of early game mana development. I expect to see this Kinnan drop now. I'm curious what they're going to follow it up with. The Sanguine keeping the no lander on the back of a Birds of Paradise. I mean, I do not have the courage to do something like that. Very impressive play. That's why they're there. I'm here casting.
Thrasios Vial Smasher is a deck that probably could live without the lands with the amount of free spells they have in it and just being able to activate Vial triggers, but we'll see where that ends up. Not getting the Kinnan out just yet, landing yet another mana rocket, a talisman this time, as we move on over to Borby's turn. Borby plays a fetch land, being able to produce 5 mana. We're there already. We can cast the creature. We can cast. What is its power and toughness even?
To be honest, I don't even know what this card does.
It's a 6/5, Borby and Fblthp. Whenever this creature enters a battlefield or attacks, draw a card. Then you may discard any number of land cards. When you discard one or more cards this way, this creature deals twice that much damage to target creature. So, it is a card draw engine. Its win con is, hey, I draw the deck.
Seems decent.
Let's see. Third for top. Deals target creature. But also very interesting, they do not run Thoracle. So how does it win? How does it win? I see the way that you just draw your deck out.
Seeing this deck win, I've only seen it win through breach loops. I haven't seen any win cons based around the commander. That's just probably the nature of the games that we've watched. They've been a lot faster of games, so deploying the Borborygmos has been a little slower. That's a Finale of Devastation, X equals 2. Dockside seems pretty decent, I suppose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're turning 4 mana into 6.
Dockside for 6 is a phenomenal drop, especially for such a high mana intensive deck like this. And I think at some point they dig for Niv Mizzet or something and just try to win the game from there. But absolutely phenomenal start there. And this finale of devastation could be truly quite devastating.
Pun intended. It could be the finale.
Absolutely pun intended. Unfortunately, no one has gone into combat step, of which you in the chat should be going into combat step to follow their Instagram, their Facebook, their Threads, their YouTube channel, where they have loads of content available, including one of our video that I recommended to a friend recently because they play Tovolar for werewolves for cEDH, and it's gross.
I've never heard of that. That's interesting. I'll have to check out that video.
It's a very stacksy commander, and I hate playing against it every time, but I do my best. Conversation going around here, trying to figure out what do we do with this potential Dockside coming around.
And this is the part where I am like, hey guys, the spell needs to resolve. The politics phase of we're all... Kinnan has 3 cards in hand. Dargo Thras has 4 cards in hand. Sanguine doesn't have a land. I'm like, what are we doing? Is this resolving? What are we thinking? But I'm a big fan of casting our spells, but this politics phase really just...
Swan Song comes down from the Kinnan player. So it looks like Sanguine and the Dargo Thrasios player, Snaz, are just either empty-handed for counter spells in Sanguine to place no mana at all, or void of free counter spells, which is a very interesting place in order to see yourself in. It does, however, looks like Swan Song has resolved, and Borborygmos and Fblthp get a bird.
And the interesting part too, you would have net 1 mana after. You would have 1 mana left over after, or 2 mana left over after getting the Dockside. You get 6, use 5. You have the land open and a treasure post casting Borborygmos. You could have cast the Borborygmos and sandbagged the finale, and you would have had a creature on the board. But with the rate this game is going, I think you need threats on the field as quickly as possible. This is going to be a grindy game.
Very much looks like it all coming down here. Still not a land coming down here from the Thras Vials, but they do land a Dothy Voidwalker, a very potent piece against a lot of these graveyard decks, of which there's only 2 decks here. There's only 2 opponents that run Underworld Breach.
Yeah, Dothy's great. I think Dargo Thras and Borborygmos are the most that stand to lose from this. Kinnan doesn't really care about their yard that much. That's a great piece to deploy against your opponents right now.
Very much so. Tapping out, and we're passing the turn. We're heading over to Snaz, and we just passed over to Wily. No land and pass. This is a very low land game right now. The only person who has more than the only person who only has more than 1 land currently is Borby and Fibble. They have 2 lands. This is crazy.
All right, we're tapping our rocks. What land is that on Kinnan's board? I cannot tell.
Could that be a Gemstone Caverns? No. It probably is a colorless land, though. Because they didn't.
Otherwise you
yeah. So it probably is a Gemstone Caverns, which is very weird that Wily would have kept at this point.
Does anyone in chat recognize what land that is? I don't think it's a Gemstone Caverns because the text box would be longer for legendary land. It looks like it just says land. For the card type box, but I cannot tell.
Could that be Treasure Vault? No. Wouldn't be slaying down the Treasure Vault this early.
Homeward
Path. path is...
What art is that from? Does anyone recognize that art?
I don't recognize that art. Certainly not me. Manamorphose coming down. Oh.
Interesting. I did not know that was reprinted.
Nor did I. Manamorphose coming down for the Borborygmos and Fblthp deck. Going to produce some mana. We're going to draw a card.
I'm getting an ad break right now on my Twitch.
No rip.
Whoopsie. Stand by, everybody.
I'll go ahead and keep you up with the game by play-by-play coming up here soon. Manamorphose exiled underneath Dothy Voidwalker. Not a terrible, actually a phenomenal card for Dothy to have. Get you 2 free mana and a card just by sacrificing your creature. That's about the same rate that you get from using Tinderwall, except you don't get the card draw.
What is up, everyone? I'm back. We have 59 viewers. That is awesome. Very excited to have so many people watching this. Appreciate you guys checking out the top 4 for the Arcane Series 1 tournament series. Top 4 by the Combat Step. Please check out the Combat Step on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, YouTube, Twitch, and X/Twitter. Jace has done a phenomenal job getting this tournament series together. So many people were able to join. It kind of ballooned overnight, which was really exciting to see. So many people wanting to play Magic. Yeah, check out the Combat Step. Lots of different content coming out for the Combat Step. Different formats, different tournament structures as well. Please check them out. They are awesome.
Yeah, and not to mention that there is another one of these tournaments coming up here soon. Registration is already open for the February tournament. Link is posted in the Discord server. Link should be coming out here at any time, and especially on their Twitter. I've been reposting it like crazy all day today. Ooh, Neoform coming down. Neoform has come down let's see. Did it come down or did it get milled?
They played a 1-drop creature and then Neoformed it, it looks like.
We're digging for Dockside again.
Shout out to the 2/2 Swan token of my good dear friend Cal, formerly of Playing with Power.
Really? That's his? Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I am so sorry, Jace. I thought it was February. Nope, it's at the beginning of March. On March 2nd will be the next Combat Step tournament.
Exciting stuff. Love to see it.
So we are on Neoform on the stack, and we're thinking about going to get Dockside Extortionist, and all the other players are thinking together, hey, Dockside's pretty bad. It produces even more mana now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 mana.
7 mana is pretty good in my meta.
7 mana is good in a lot of meta. Like, it's even good in casual meta. Because 7 mana in the casual meta, you get 1 big creature. And in this case, you get 1 big creature in Borborygmos. Do you think?
All right.
Do you think that they have Temur Sabertooth in hand already?
1, or it looks like 2 cards in hand. I truly don't know. I think Wiley's debating on using some sort of interaction, and is opting not to. With the way they were looking at their hand. But yeah, I am not sure what's in hand. If it is a Temur Sabertooth, that is extremely good, and you'll make a lot of mana, but if you have no outlet for that mana...
The outlet is Borby.
You can put infinite mana into Borborygmos?
Yeah, because Borby itself has the ability to, well, no, it doesn't bounce itself, but between Temur Sabertooth and Borborygmos, you're able to return it to hand, recast it, and continue to draw your deck.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
And so we are, it could have been, yeah, there's the Dockside Extortionist landing on the battlefield. ETB trigger, do you sacrifice the Lotus Petal? Not like it's going to help matter much if Tamir Sabertooth is in hand.
We're finishing the tutor. Penguins are looking at their hand, curious what changed or what they're thinking now. 7. We have 1 red, 1 colorless floating as well. So we really only have to use 2 treasure for the, if there is a Tamir Sabertooth.
If they just have the win right here, right now.
Let's see what they
5
do.
mana. Don't recognize the art.
Let's see.
Or is that 6 mana? And
that is a Tamir Sabertooth.
That is a Tamir Sabertooth. Win is right here.
Okay, wow.
The winning play is right here because you'll have enough mana here to net positive.
Yeah, you would just make infinite treasure and then not have to worry about it.
Mind break trap! No!
Wow. So they did not learn from our good pal Freedom Waffle. If you are Dargo Thrasios, you're not supposed to cast the Mind Break Trap. I learned that from Freedom Waffle. But apparently this Dargo Thrasios wanted to. So good for them. Casting your spells is good. Not losing the game is good as well.
Mm-hmm. We're trying to count mana. We're trying to see if maybe we can counter this back.
What was the third spell? That was the third spell. It was the 1-drop creature, Neoform, then Tamir.
Yes, correct. Beautiful, beautiful Mind Break Trap, just being able to land at the perfect time. And unfortunately, there's no real way around that with this specific sequencing because you needed every single bit of sequencing you need here in order to try to win the game.
Yeah, I'm hard pressed to play around Mind Break Trap unless I know my opponent has it. I'm again a known cast your spells enjoyer, and you just gotta cast your spells. If there's a Mind Break Trap that you know of, obviously play around it, but living in fear of a Mind Break Trap, unless you can navigate that line without stopping your ability to win, I say just go for it. Tapping out the 5 mana now to cast Borborygmos.
Just gonna take a look at this
Mind Break Trap.
A second Mind Break Trap? Really? Are we feeling that confident to shut a player out of the game in order to try to push our own incentive?
I mean, that effectively neuters them out of the game.
Brutality. Wow. Like, I understand that Sanguine doesn't have any basic lands, and there's not really a good way to remove the birds, and they have artifacts set up. But, oh my goodness, this is absolutely brutal right here.
Yeah, that is backbreaking.
Let's take a look.
Curious what the Borborygmos. I mean, it seems maybe a little hasty, but if your goal is to make this a 3-player game, you did a good job in making this a 3-player game.
I think the other thing the chat's pointing out is Borby, the last card in hand could be a land, and when Borby entered the battlefield, could have nuked the Kinnan.
Oh, gotcha. That's true.
And there we go. We enter into the combat step. And a little 2/2 bird comes flying over the top. Going into the untapped snap of Sanguine. Let's see. It's an odds. Does odds universally mean take 3? It does. Mana Crypt is burning players down right now. As this Thrasios Vial hasn't been hit at all, so it's taking a lot of early damage here. Counting our mana, trying to figure out, hey, what's the best way I can make this apparently amazing hand play without any base or without any lands. Take a look at the deck list here. Brought to you by our what's the darn word? Software. Brought to you by our software over at Command Tower. It's just an amazing program, just being able to really detail all of the data on their websites for all sorts of tournaments around the world.
Yeah, as a member of Eminence Gaming, part of the company that makes Command Tower software, we are proud to make Tournament Commander, not just Tournament Commander, but Magic more accessible to people. We have our tournament software used for 1v1 tournaments. We have it used for Smash Bros, Magic the Gathering, pinball tournaments, really anything that you need a tournament dedicated software to run, Command Tower can run it. Most popular though, with cEDH competitive Commander tournaments. We are very proud. We are internationally used and growing the scene in Europe, Brazil, Mexico, Canada. We are used all across the world, and we are very proud of that fact. We were recently used at the Command Fest in Shanghai. We're very, very proud. Happy to make it accessible. Happy to give the community a tool to run their own tournaments and make, again, Tournament Commander more accessible.
Yeah, absolutely. Command Fest in Shanghai is really cool. And then on top of that, you guys, I saw on Twitter that Pastimes was going to be using your guys' software as well for Magic Con up in Chicago. Amazing work that you guys are doing over there.
Appreciate it.
Trying to figure out what we got going on. We're passing the turn over here from Sanguine. We're going over to Snaz's turn for the Dargo Thrasios. Thrasios on the battlefield. We're playing 1 mana for a mana vault, opting to use our Mox Amber in case our Thrasios decides, yeah, no, I'm going to die to this lightning bolt from any of our 2 red decks at the table. Trying to decide what we're going to do from here, whether we're going to play an additional spell, use something a bit heavier for the mana vault. Unfortunately, cannot cast Dargo because we used the Mox Amber.
Yeah, really starved for mana on the for Dargo Thrasios.
We're short for mana across the entire board, actually.
Kinnan seems like they have the most to gain from this. I'm not too scared of the Dothy. I know I have to play around some pieces of interaction, but Kinnan's making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana, 7 mana, including the Homeward Path. I mean, that's at least 1 activation if you're willing to lose the Lotus Petal. That's not the worst place to be.
Moving into untap here for Wiley's turn. It looks like we're discussing, and in comes the combat step. And we got the simmer down hand coming down from there. The emotions that you're able to employ from just simple hand gestures is very telling of what the turns have been and around the table.
Yeah, I mean, Sanguine for a person with no lands, they're in this game. I'm not writing them off yet, and it's really impressive what they've been able to do.
The big thing about Sanguine is they are collecting cards through Dothy Voidwalker. They have a Neoform. They have Manamorphose. They have 2 Mindbreak traps now, and they're just slowly collecting cards in that Void Zone.
Yeah, having access to Mindbreak traps, the Manamorphose, they have a Neoform. I mean, they could Neoform their Birds of Paradise into a Dockside if they needed to. I am pretty impressed with Sanguine's ability to stay in this game.
It seems like...
Looks like we activated Kinnan.
Activate Kinnan and whiff. Oof. That's
brutal.
Going into the untapped step here of Borborygmos and Fblthp. we do have what 3, 4, 5, 6. So if they do happen to have a land, they have enough to try to recast Borby.
Let's see.
Yeah,
it comes down.
Doggy. Pushing into the red zone, into the combat step. We're swinging once again over at Sanguine, which is very interesting. Must be decided to hit him because he's the Adnos player, potentially?
Yeah, I mean, that's the player that's statistically most likely to be using their resources going to be Sanguine.
Oops, sorry. That's my time to start thinking about dinner.
See here. One card in hand still. I mean, I would assume you would just play Borborygmos just to have a threat on the board.
But they have 5 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, they do have 7. I guess they don't want to push away a spirit right away. However, Chord of Calling, where X can equal up to 3 coming down here.
Well, Borborygmos is 5, so they can easily cast it without having to make a spirit, right? I see 6 mana on their board.
Borby is 5 and got Mind Break trapped once.
Oh, true. I forgot about the MVP.
It was so early. Potential. We have a regular in the chat, or a regular player against the Thrasios Vial in the chat, saying that he might have Thoracle already in hand. Interesting play pattern, if that's true.
Yeah, I mean, if they just have the win, that'll do it. He is on Adnos. Yeah, I assumed. I can't imagine he's not on Adnos. It makes sense to attack him. No one else really seems like they're running Treasonous Ogre.
Chord of Calling, X equals 3. What do we get here? Spellseeker, Opposition Agent, Eternal Witness, or a slew of creatures that cost less. But there's a offer you simply cannot refuse.
Which we did see that revealed when Borborygmos was thinking about fighting over the finale.
I definitely missed that. That is a good catch out there, partner. That was at their end step. We're going into untap. Rolling for Crypt. It's odds again. He's going to die to his own mana Crypt. All the way down to 23 while everybody else is still above 30. This mana Crypt hates this player.
Can mana Crypt go all the way? We're going to find out.
That doesn't help to gain life either, but that certainly helps you find the best card in your deck. At this moment in time, it's a Vampiric Tutor.
Vamp Tutor, pretty good. And this is at the end step of Fblthp, correct?
No, this is during main phase now. End step of Fblthp was the Chord of Calling.
Gotcha. I mean, this Vamp Tutor can be cracked by the Dathi. We have a Manamorphose in yard, so like you said, we can Ritual for 2 red or green mana. This deck needs red and green mana and draw a card and crack a top deck Tutor. That's a pretty decent Dathi.
What is the best card here? Do we find Rhystic Study?
No, I think we're too far gone for Rhystic Study. We're finding a way to close out this game and win. We are in a position where we have mana. I mean, if that's an Adnos, we can crack the Dathi for an Adnos and still have mana left over. He's facing death. He most certainly is not going to see another turn or two. He might see another turn. I'm still a little worried about Kinnan. Maybe a little less so after they whiffed on their trigger. I'm not worried about Dargo Thrasios right now. They have very little mana, and Borborygmos and Fblthp has been out of the game. I think this is Sanguine's opportunity to take this home and win it. I truly believe that this is their opportunity to win.
Trying to add Nas from 21 is such a risky play, but I admire it, and it looks like we're doing it.
I mean, Adnos wins games.
They throw up the shrug. It's like, I don't know. I guess I could try it.
They're cracking it. Definitely the Manamorphose. Yep. Smart play. I love, and then he can do. Sanguine can do this a lot safer, knowing that a lot of the interaction have been used. You are not playing around mind break traps because you have them in the Dauphy zone. You're vibing right now, and we have 2 mana floating. I don't know if it's going to matter which color.
Is there a world for Dockside Extortionist here?
No, I'm sorry. Manamorphose is 2 mana of any color, not red and green. I don't know if we necessarily need a Dockside at this point. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. You're drawing that card. Sanguine's a good pilot. I think I've seen their name around a lot. I think they just win.
But they're just trying to figure out how they win, because Adnos from 21, when you still haven't seen Niv Mizzet, Deadeye Navigator, Consecrated Sphinx, all of which are in his deck. Force of Will. We haven't seen his own Mindbreak Trap. Finale of Devastation.
Is he running Deadeye Navigator?
He is. This deck is, or no, that's the Borborygmos. I knew I misclicked. I knew that deck didn't look right. He does, however, run.
If Sanguine and Thrasios Vial Smasher is running Consecrated Sphinx, Deadeye Navigator in an Adnos deck, I was just going to be like, okay, I'm good. I'm done casting now. I don't need to continue to do this anymore.
Apologies. I was on the wrong deck list. It does have Hullbreaker, Horror, and Seedborn Muse on top of Force of Will and Deadly Relic. And the One Ring. Oh, that's the combo. I missed the enchantment of Song of Creation.
Yeah, Song of Creation is very good. Doesn't that have... No, that's Tamir. I always think that has white in it.
Yeah, nope, that is strictly Timur. Timur in 1.
Okay, so we are doing Finale X equals 2. So we maybe are going for the Dockside. I think that's what they're counting right now.
2 mana floating. It could be... Oh, because they used 1 mana for Vampiric Tutor. That's another great choice there. Thoracle could be coming down here, and they just have Consult in hand.
Yeah, you just draw the you vamp tutor for the Consult or the Tainted Pact. If you get a Thoracle now, I think he wouldn't be thinking as much though, unless people are just waiting for shit to resolve, and then maybe that's why it's taking so long.
They are definitely discussing heavily. You see the hand gestures open and close and open and close. Holding up fingers for artifacts. We're counting artifacts here. Could still be Dockside here. Or it could be a misdirection. Have you ever done that sort of misdirection before?
Misdirection's a blue card.
Damn it.
Have you ever subverted, talk to your opponent and say, hey, I'm going to go get this card, and instead got a different card?
No, that's lying, and my word is worth too much for me to lie in a tournament. I will try to misrepresent the information, but if I say I'm doing XYZ and I don't do XYZ, that's a candor issue on me, and it's not worth winning a tournament to have my word questioned.
Yeah, that's very noble right there.
I will say I'm not going to tell you what I'm tutoring for. Go ahead and counter it, or I'm going to be tutoring for mana, but I'm not going to lie to my opponents, because that's the big thing too. And I've talked about this on my podcast. Is if we're lying in tournaments, we're a person that lies in real life. You know what I mean? Like, our word, our candor transcends whatever game of Magic we're playing. I mean, if we're playing with friends and it's a group of people and we're having a couple drinks, we're goofing around, like pulling each other's leg, that's a different thing. If I'm in a tournament and I'm playing for stakes and I'm playing for money and I'm lying to do that, I'm a slimy person. It's one thing to be deceptive, like I'm playing poker, but to outwardly lie, that's a person who if I sit down at a table and I know someone's lied to me previously, I'm going to go, yeah, that guy lies. Heads up, everyone. I was at tournament XYZ. That guy lies. My word's not worth getting questioned like that.
What's MGE? Oh man, I don't know what MGE is. One of the persons in chat just popped it up.
Yeah, I don't know what MGE is, but Mana Gorger, Machine God's Effigy. Okay, chat. I'm keeled over right now. You're going to make me Google cards? If this card came out in the last year, come on.
They're bullies. They're a bunch of bullies, I tell you.
Machine God's Effigy, because I have to Google cards now, because chat is mentioning cards that I don't know. Oh, this came out like 2 years ago? Okay.
Might as well put EIO. Just for Old McDonald, darn it.
4-mana artifact. You may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature on the battlefield, except it's an artifact. Okay.
Oh, okay. So it's a more complicated version for a devoted druid. We're
playing a worse Curse Mirror, chat.
Well, wait, no. Curse Mirror dies still, right? If it copies a creature, because it copies its power and toughness.
Isn't Devoted Druid a one? Oh, I don't know.
It's a 0/1 that you tap it and you put a -1/-1 counter on it.
Sure, yeah. I see the logic, chat. I get it. I'm mad I had to Google a card. Mirage Mirror. No, Curse Mirror, the red one. It's like a worse Curse Mirror. Mirage Mirror is pretty good too.
There we go. Okay.
Woodland deck house, Lauren. You're only the top 4 decks are showing. I play Dihada, and I like to I want to play. Only want to play Dihada. I was playing Rogsai, and like while playing Rogsai, I was like, "This is soulless. I feel empty."
Oh, good. Feel the soulless. Crave to the Grixis powers.
I mean, I was winning, but I was like, "This deck's boring." So we did get the Dockside. 8 treasures. 1 black, 1 red floating. Yeah, Priscilla, I think you're right. Sabretooth or Baron just wins the game. Yeah, that was top 4. I know, it was a top 4 deck because of me, Baby Pigeon. I'm the only reason that deck was top 4.
That's how I lost in my... that's how I lost in Lotus Con. I lost trying to fight over a Dihada deck, and then the Blue Farm deck that was behind it just won out of nowhere.
I don't know what Blue Farm is, but Dihada's sick.
Oh my goodness. Please get that word out of my head.
So we have the Dockside. We have a Kajillion mana. I'm wondering if they're going to... Also, for style points, do they just go trying to win without the land? If I'm saying green, I think I go for style points. Yeah.
Hey, look, it's Notion Thief, everybody.
Hey, everyone. Everyone in their retirement homes. Here's a card that we haven't seen played in 50 years, Notion Thief.
Been a very long time since we've seen a Notion Thief be placed on a battlefield, and definitely one that doesn't correlate super well into this battlefield that we have.
I like playing Notion Thief if I can guarantee I'm the only non-black player, which I don't have now. I don't have to worry about in this pot. If I'm sanguine, I do not have to worry about my Notion Thief getting Bowmastered. But Notion Thief generally has fallen out of meta. because of its same with Mana Dorks. I mean, that's everything that Curious Control is doing. It's like, oh, dive from Bowmaster. But I would love to see this Notion Thief followed up by a wheel.
Wayne here, we're seeing everybody toss up hands, and there's the OK symbol. We're touching our cards, and I think could just go, hey, screw it, throw down a wheel, and we might get there.
Seeing a wheel would be sick right now.
it remind me of the old back when Timna Crom used to be all about wheels and Hullbreaker. It is! A Wheel of Fortune has entered the stack!
This is spelled out GG's. That is hot. We love to see that. And with some mana too, 3 mana to back this up. Dargo Thrasios passing priority. Love to see this. I love the style points. I hope they don't play land and they're able to just win landless.
Oh, the last card in hand was a mind break trap of their own.
Wow.
And only 2 spells were cast?
Oh, wait, no. Oh, 3 spells were cast. Oh, they mind break trapped the Wheel of Fortune with the last card in hand. Oh, no.
I mean, that Notion Thief still shuts down the Borborygmos. It still shuts down the Thrasios.
We saw
stands to gain the most from that.
We saw a glimpse in the past. We saw a moment of history trying to repeat itself of wheeling people down and then no longer having hands. We saw the treasures being produced by Hull Breacher and us having no cards in hand. And it was just squandered just like that.
Yeah, love to see Notion Thief again. But I think that card has just been outclassed by recent printings.
Main phase Court of Calling, and in comes Dockside number 3.
Again, this is almost every single game we have watched. We have talked about the influence that Dockside Extortionist has had on this format and these games. I think that is the most ban-worthy card above Rhystic Study, above Thorkel, above anything else, even Underworld Breach. Dockside launches that is format warping. People play clones. I said this earlier. People play clones to copy Dockside. They play different ways to find Dockside. You mold to a Dockside if you're in seat 4. That card is format warping.
You hear it here first, folks. You get this and much more hot takes over at Combat Step. Oh my goodness. If Dockside got banned, I would cry. I would cry because then I probably would be the Sans white deck, the Ecochrome deck that I'm playing would just crumble.
Yeah, I mean, I love the strategies that Dockside enables. I agree with you, maybe Pigeon, but Rhystic Study is a good card. It is nowhere near. People are not mulliganing hard for Rhystic Studies. There's other draw engines in the format. People are not playing clones to copy Dockside. There's so many, like the Flesh Duplicate, Phantasmal Image. Those cards are only played for Docksides. Like, it's incredible what that single card has done. People are using finales and Court of Calling strictly for Dockside, and it is a format warping card.
Worldly Tutor coming down here. Do you think we find the combo piece here?
No. And the reason being is I think you hold up that Worldly Tutor if you're going for the win. You're going to spend 4 mana to crack your top deck tutor, unless it's like a Gitaxian Probe in hand, to get that top card. If it is a Gitaxian Probe in hand, if they get it to near Sabretooth, then yeah, they can win. But yeah, I if it's not a Tamir Sabretooth, that tells me that they have no way to crack the top deck tutor, and I don't think they're going to waste 4 mana just to draw a card when they could have done that at Sanguine's end step. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you will have a full hand with a risk 6. Oh, that's true. Yeah, there is a Notion Thief, so you can't even crack the Thrasios to get it. Yeah, I mean, you can multi through the Ristic, a land, and a rock, but I mean, you have no plan. Like you're not doing anything. You're hoping, and you're hoping RNG's in your favor. But that's a good mold of 3. Don't get me wrong. I will take that mold of 3 any day of the week. But you're not planning a game plan around that.
Goes and gets Kinnan Bonder Prodigy to the top deck. What's the what's the Vial Summer doing here? Let's see if our judge notices. How did it get into hand? If our wonderful producer behind the camera can tell us how it got into hand there, that'd be great.
I have no clue either. I'm not sure what just happened.
Would you like
I'm going to go pop
the
into
judge and see if that happened?
I was trying to figure that out too. Like, I don't know what just happened there.
You think that was an incept trigger?
Nope. Okay. There goes my
so,
broadcasting partner. We're back on Dex's show over here at the Condat Step, and I believe, could have been at end step, could be at upkeep, could have been before the initial draw for turn happened.
Why?
I don't remember them having that much mana untapped for Court of Calling, but I guess it was the fact.
So
what happened?
Shooter grabbed the Kinnan, and then they used the treasure to crack they used to activate Thrasios to draw the Kinnan, but there's a Notion Thief out.
Oh shit!
Did they Court of Calling at instep?
No, they didn't upkeep.
The Court of Calling at upkeep.
Yeah.
Yep, I would go right into the. Yep, they drew a card when there's a Notion Thief on the battlefield.
Did they already draw for turn? Cause at that point, because they do everything in response to the Worldly Tutor and upkeep.
We're not really sure.
Let me clarify with the rest of the pod. One second.
All right, thank you.
I'll be right back.
So regardless, though, the interesting thing, that Greater Good line does not work because of the Notion Thief.
Welcome back from urgent care. Glad you're feeling good, Captain Moral Support.
We are over here in the final pods, and we're trying to determine.
Okay, yes, that's exactly what happened. They did their upkeep, then Worldly Tutored on their upkeep, and then drew the Kinnan for turn.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem.
We're all on board now. Thank you very much to our judging staff, who was over here on behalf of Chaos Tournament. We're more than happy that they were able to get their judges over here in order to help us run this event. Greater Good is on the stack, and this could be detrimental for the game.
Greater Good does not do anything with a Notion Thief. Notably, you will sack your creature and feed Sanguine cards.
Ah, yes. Notion Thief does shut down the Greater Good. You are correct about that.
Sanguine's hoping this resolves. Yeah, that's if I'm Sanguine, I'm like, yeah, guys, let's just let this resolve. It's fine. We'll deal with it.
Moon Silver Key, probably one of the sneakiest cards in Kinnan.
It's gotten underneath a lot of other decks when it comes to winning the game.
No, Priscilla, I think the only thing that stopped the win attempt by Sanguine was a singular Mindbreak trap, and your opponent only had one card in hand. I think hindsight's 2020 that we can see how that win attempt was stopped. But when your opponent has one card in hand and your other opponents have shown that they do not have interaction, I think that was the right time for Sanguine to try to make their own window, to try to go for the win. I think statistically, on average, it is in their favor. But every time you go for a win attempt, it's typically gambling, right? You want to play to your best odds. Even if you have a 95% chance of being correct, that 5%, you can still lose. It looks like we have a Curiosity targeting the 2/2 Swan Cal token.
Hey, you know what? A card is a card. A card is a card, and in this scenario, if you're a Borborygmos, you need more cards. Need to get back on track against the rest of these decks who have proven that you need to draw more cards. However, once again, there's still a Notion Thief on the battlefield, y'all.
Yeah, true. I think with the greater good being set and the Curiosity as well, I think you're just hoping that it's removed sometime soon. But if you put the Curiosity, on the Swan, it stops it from being able to attack.
Priscilla, if I had your level of patience, I would win so much more games. But unfortunately, I am Grixis in my heart, and I jam every chance that I find a best opportunity that I can.
Yeah, I mean that's what Grixis does best. Like specifically, Rog Sai is you don't look for your window. You're not opportunistic. You create that window and you go right through it. And if it gets boarded up, it gets boarded up. Which is the beauty of that deck. The Sanguine is seeing another turn without their life total really being pressured.
Mana Crypt. Does it get there?
Oh, finally. Out of what, 6 rolls? No. 5 rolls? Out of all the rolls he's made, he has now won for however many that is. He's lost all of his Mana Crypt rolls so far today.
Yeah, it's been brutal. They really have not taken a lot of damage from being attacked. It's mostly just been first land drop of the game.
He
not
got
going
there!
for 12 points.
Woo!
Unfortunate.
Yippee!
Not going for style points. Absolute coward.
You know, that's got it. Didn't Cody do that for Turbo Nas? They frequently won without lands.
I'm sure it's happened before, yeah.
Or I guess that'd be more of a function of Mad Farm that has 23 lands in the deck.
I mean, 23 lands is where you want to be at. I think my Dihada deck only has 24.
Isn't there? I swear, there's always these players I see online that keep on trying to want to push the limit all the way down to like 18 lands or something ridiculous like that.
I like casting spells, so if I can have more spells, less lands, let's do it.
I love it.
Because you can leverage not having lands by having mana sources. I think I'm inclined to agree with you. Maybe Pigeon 24 is the lowest. 24 is where I'm at. I think my Rog side deck is at 24 or 25. But I have like 60 cards that produce mana overall. So you were able to turbo out faster because of like you're gonna have one land, but you're gonna have 4 rocks. You know what I mean?
I'm a bit greedier in my land count. Usually I do 28 plus, which is very greedy, or like greedy in terms of land count, because especially in my local meta. Oh, hold up here. Mnemonic Betrayal. Mnemonic Betrayal is coming down onto the battlefield.
That might be able to do it.
Is it able to do it? A lot of their spells were put into exile from the Daughty Voidwalker.
It might be. We have a gamble. I don't know if gamble gets there. I know we have a gamble in Borborygmos's. I don't know if any of those. I don't know if Cord does anything. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, we're getting endurance. A fun heuristic that I think a lot of people have heard me talk about before. I said it earlier this stream. I'm going to say it again. I have never seen the endurance player win the game outside of Kinnan. Kinnan is the caveat to this rule. I think they use endurance in a very interesting sort of way, but most times if you're playing endurance, you're playing not to lose. You're keeping a card in your hand to not lose rather than to win, and it's just not a winning strategy. If you look at the numbers, I would say like decks that aren't Kinnan, it's like 95% of them when they cast endurance, they lose the game. Like once you start tracking the data and start paying attention to it, I have never seen the endurance player win outside of Kinnan. That being said, though, Kinnan played endurance, targeting the Borborygmos, shuffled them to the bottom, no longer has access to tutors from Sanguine. This is a way worse mnemonic betrayal, which thank you, Magic the Gathering, for teaching me how to spell a mnemonic. But I encourage everyone who does not play Kinnan to track the games in which you play endurance and see if you are losing or winning, because it's, again, a card people play to not lose, and I like playing cards to win.
I have only won after playing endurance later in the game one time, but that was because I had it's because the deck I was playing was, very disrespected. It was Grolnok the Omnivore, but I was still playing against Timna Krom, Najila, and Talion at the time. And they had just spent all their counter spells in order to try to stop Timna Krom with Underworld Breach. So I cast my endurance to shuffle their graveyard into the library, and then I won it about 2 turns later.
Captain Moral Support, if I have to hear you or read Jorn Stasis one more time, I'm going to have an aneurysm. You and your Jorn Stasis.
Any form of stasis or stack decks are hell, and I hate it.
That's Captain Moral Support's calling card, is rocking the Jorn Stasis deck.
Actually, hold up. I remember now. I did play against that deck. It sucked.
Yeah, the deck's ass.
A lot.
Yeah, the deck's ass. I'm glad Captain Moral Support stopped playing it. It's like virtually unplayable.
Okay. What did they cast? Did they do Court of Calling here?
Yeah, how does that work with Convoke? It says you may spend mana of any color. I guess Convoke. Yeah, there's a judge in the chat.
Trying to figure out how that works out with the creatures.
Yeah, how does Mnemonic Betrayal, you can spend mana if it's any color, work with Convoke? Can someone educate me, please? Also loops. Thrasios has loops with endurance. I've never seen the Tevesh Thrasios deck win.
No way wins with Tevesh Thrasios unless it's through Thoracle lines. Come on.
You can just use the crypt for drop play. Oh, true. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Thank you, Blank Carl.
But isn't that an alternative casting cost?
No. It's as a way to cast the spell.
Oh, okay. It's not like Escape with Underworld Breach. Yeah.
No, you just have the crypt as green mana for the casting. That makes sense. Thank you, Blank Carl. I've been doing this for like 8 hours today, so my brain's getting a little rotten.
Yeah, everyone, a round of applause for our 8-hour caster warrior. Definitely showing why he deserves to be in the booth more frequently.
That's what I do. Happy to do it. It's fun.
Slamming down a Mystic Remora here. We finally have a card draw engine that's going to help us speed this game along into more and more cards.
Yes, that's correct. Captain Moral Supporter goes to the graveyard of its owner. You can't have other players' cards in your graveyard.
Man, that sounds like an uncard right there if I ever heard one. Land our Mystic Remora, passing the turn. We're going to untap. We're drawing over here for Kinnan. We're seeing if possibly we can find a way to produce enough mana for Kinnan to just go off.
I like to play my Mystic Remora into Notion Thieves. All right.
Actually, yeah. Why did they play Mystic into Notion Thief? Do they just hate themselves right now?
Sanguine, I don't think is going to live to see another turn. Wily Coyote can put 5 damage on the Sanguine, and I think Borborygmos and Fblthp can finish Sanguine off. Oh no, they have a tapped creature. That's my bad. They have a cannon.
Yeah, they have a cannon.
I mean,
but
you could if you swing with the Swan and you swing with the Endurance, hope they don't block. You can hope the Crypt kills them. Their luck's been pretty terrible.
Their luck has certainly been very bad. It's probably the main reason why they're in this situation, minus the fact there was a 7/5 trampler that came crashing into them on their turn, on Dargo's turn. Picking up the Moonsilver Key, we're thinking about cracking it.
That's true. I suppose you do need Sanguine in the game to keep the greater good in check. That's a good point.
That is very true. Notion Thief is stopping the greater good. And so that's probably the reason why they deployed the Mystic Remora. Well, like you said at the beginning of this conversation, yes, they're probably not going to live another turn. I'm going to hedge on that bet. I'm going to bet they don't live until my next turn, where I'm able to get a couple more cards from the fish.
Okay, so it looks like we swung in at Borborygmos, or are we swinging at Sanguine?
Swung into Borborygmos, went down from 29 to 27. Life totals are very high around the table, except for Sanguine once again. Digging around, tapping all of our cards. Looks like we are going to use the Moonsilver Key. But what do you get with the Moonsilver Key? Do you get the Mirage Mirror now in order to come in as a cop, in order to potentially have a blocker against the Dargo?
I don't know. Can they grab Basalt Monolith?
They could, but can they win with it? I don't think they can, because I imagine that if they try to win with Basalt Monolith, well, first of all, they don't have colored mana unless they have a Treasure Vault.
True. I think whatever they tutor for will tell us kind of what the game plan is, or they just get the... No, there would be no reason to crack it then. Yeah, curious. I would
trying to find an artifact here. Not going for the Arcane Signet, which makes a lot of sense here. And it looks like they do end up going for the Basalt Monolith just to get into their hand. Going to fetch with the fetch land. What's up?
Have they played a land yet this turn?
That fetch land was their land for turn, if I recall correctly.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so they were just trying to decide what they can do for their next turn. Oh boy, we're getting up into standing casting territory here.
I mean, you can tap the Felwar Stone, you'll make 2, tap the land 3, cast the Basalt. You have 1 source of colored mana.
Trying to piece together the puzzle here.
And if you get something like a Seedborn Muse, you can start just grinding away.
I bet you this Borborygmos player was really expecting to see more Tymna players when they had their Forbidden Orchard in their deck.
Oh, Big Chung 111 says crop rotation. That's also a good point. Crop rot the homeward path. Get a cradle.
Looks like we are passing. We're going into untap of Borby. Borby takes another 3. These mana crypts are brutalizing their owners. Going into their draw step here.
Priscilla, if we didn't speculate, it'd be dead silence.
Yes, allow me to not speculate.
It also
in a game where there's literally it's the game starts off 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 99, and then it just goes meteoric from there for a gameplay.
Speculation also helps these are the thought processes, like as someone who's played in a lot of tournaments before, these are the questions that I'm asking if I'm sitting at the table trying to beat this opponent. So I think it's useful to hear, though, to know what are the signal posts that I'm looking for as someone who has played a lot of cEDH and Tournament Commander. What do they have? What are they showing? What could they have? What do I need to be able to look out for? Those are the questions when I'm sitting trying to win a game. Like that's how we improve our play patterns, and it's just good to be mindful of.
Well, it stinks that you think you're a bozo, my Sans White sister in Christ, because you're darn right. We're both bozos for playing Sans White right now. White is a fantastic color. How no decks with white in it made it to the top 4 is absolutely outstanding to me. It just blows my mind every time I think about this top 4.
Yeah, and everyone having a Simic shell, and everyone wants to play their Kinnans. As a Kinnan player, revealing the Basalt is a move for sure. I'm wondering if they have something else in hand that they opted to not play. I'm curious why they felt the need to crack the Moonsilver Key then. Is it sorcery speed to crack that card?
I believe it is. Allow me to do. Moonsilver Key. No, it's not a sorcery speed. Interesting.
Strange.
Not sure maybe to do what one of the favorite terminology used in my play group, to feign uselessness. To be like, hey, I have 3 cards in hand. You know exactly what one of them is. I don't got stuff. Good luck trying to beat the odds at this table.
Yeah, but doing that when you have your infinite mana outlet is a little risky.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when Sanguine wants to resolve as many wheels as they want to.
How many wheels do they have in their deck? Because they just tried to do Wheel Fortune. Windfall. Yeah, they just have the 2. How interesting.
No Time Twister makes sense.
Yeah. I think I'm happy, but I'm also sad that we've moved away from Twister in many decks because of how good Underworld Breach is. But Time Twister is always a fun deck to resolve, especially for me, because 9 times out of 10, I don't know how, I draw into a better hand. I draw into a better 7.
Gotcha.
We were able to land the Borby, ladies and gentlemen.
Not my
everyone across the Magic world. We did it.
First one was Mind Break Trapped.
I can't believe it was Mind Break Trapped. It really did put them out of the game for a long time, though. Entering into this channel's favorite phase, it's the combat step.
All right, we are swinging. Are we pressuring Sanguine's life total?
Doesn't look like it. It looks like we swung into Snaz, who has the 7/5 Dargo. It's like, okay, You swing Dargo into him one more time and we'll be fine.
I went 2 ads.
You got 2 ads? How dare you?
I know, it switched me back.
Quick, hiccup, distract. Good job. Going into Sanguine's turn here. Looks like we're playing our Thrasios here. We have Kinnan on the battlefield, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 potential mana to tap in order to activate either Thrasios or Kinnan. And with the Notion Thief on the battlefield, would it be a bad idea to get our Kinnan activations through right now? Activating Kinnan 1 time, scrying, putting it to the bottom, revealing a land. Land comes into play top. It is a overgrown tomb, to be more specific. Still have 4 mana floating, or 4 mana untapped, ready to go. Tapping it.
Do not think Sanguine is long for this world.
Yes, very much so, especially with a 7/5 trampler that comes on in here. Spellseeker goes to hand a turn too late. I think if Spellseeker came in a bit earlier, that could have been game.
I'm inclined to agree with that.
Because what you would do there is you would Spellseeker for probably Chain of Vapor and then rip a Dockside again.
To do what? I think they ran out of cards in hand.
Oh, they have 1 card left over there. But you still have Thrasios, you still have Kinnan activations to try to rip from there. Going into Snaz's turn, we've untapped. We're trying to hedge our options here, going into a low life total of Sanguine over here to the right. Mr. Gromora is no more. The bet had failed. We unfortunately did not close on the stock that is Mr. Gromora. Going straight into combat step. Dargo being tapped sideways, probably heading straight into Sanguine's face. Trying to hedge and see if we can get any more damage elsewhere, but a lot of a decent sized board on Borborygmos and Fblthp board, with it being a 6/5, of course. Kinnan, on the other hand, Wiley's board is completely open. Everything's tapped down except for mana, of course. All the creatures are tapped down, and we're trying to decide if we're just trying to get more damage into these faces.
Yeah, Big Chunk. I think the Mystic Remora is a May ability, so my assumption is the controller just opted to not. I want Flesh Duplicant Flash in, copying Furisico.
Wait, I recognize that copy pasta. Get out of here, Captain Moral Support. Love it. Let's see. Trying to 3 cards in hand. One of them is.
I think both.
Oh, we're still on Snaz's turn. We're still on Dargo's combat step.
Yeah, we're declaring attack still.
My bad. I got distracted by chat. Thanks, guys. I got distracted by them and lost track of turn order.
Luckily, the wonderful people over at Spell Table have made a nice highlighted frame around whose turn it is. It's up to the players to help us figure out whose turn it is. So thank you, players, for allowing us to keep up with whose turn is it anyway.
Right. So we're blocking to soak up 5. Like 5 damage there. Going to 3. I'm sorry, going to 2.
Sent everything in there. That is crazy. That is definitely them saying, hey, I have to win. Obviously, they've had greater good on the battlefield for a long time, but they're definitely hedging on the fact that no other players can win in the next turn cycle.
I think they're forgetting that Kinnan has a basalt.
I think that is also the case here too.
I'm it's a little bit of a gambler's fallacy when you're playing. You have this sunk cost into beating Sanguine. Sanguine has, granted, they have powerful static effects that are impacting the board state. They're kind of out of this game a little bit. Sans the Thrasios activations, you need to devote some resources to dealing with Wily Coyote. Maybe they tutored like that, hoping people would just forget. And if that's the case, the gambit worked. But there's a known basalt monolith in Kinnan's hand. If that turn goes to them, I don't see how Kinnan loses this game.
It all depends on what the second and third card in their hands are, though. They're, like, once again, we're down to 1 out of however many cards they have remaining in their deck to determine if they can win here. We're hoping it's Treasure Vault in order to win the game here. But we are in the pitter-patter phase of trying to move on and step over. So the possible 2 cards they could probably have. Treasure Vault's obviously a great bet, but also maybe Mirage Mirror.
Could be, yeah.
Could just also be a way to find a way. Let's see. Isn't there a creature? Well, I guess there's no creatures really, unless they have specifically a clone effect to copy the dockside effect that's on the dockside that's under Dargo Thrasios over here.
Yeah, I mean, you need like a Fimage.
Fimage or
Duplicate.
Do they run Shapeshifter? They do not run Shapeshift. Or wrong deck. That's a haul. They do run Perplexing Chimera, which I continue to have this debate with my friends list. Like I feel like there's certain players who can play Perplexing Chimera to expert level, but then there's a lot of other players who struggle with it.
Very powerful card. Very powerful effect.
And the hardest thing about it is it could go to anybody, but with Homeward Path being on the battlefield, it helps them out immensely already.
Energy Refractor does the same thing. Okay.
It's the Sky Turtle. It's been so long since I've seen it cycle or channeled. Oh my goodness.
What is up, Kill Stars? Kill Stars, you rock, buddy. Good to see you. We are channeling the Sky Turtle.
Let's see. What did we bounce to hand? I completely missed what we bounced to hand.
Chat, I don't know which mode they use.
I did not know. I don't know which mode they used either. Completely missed it. They probably have a card in the graveyard. Maybe it's a second Moonsilver key.
I don't think it's going to be another Moonsilver key.
I wouldn't think so either. But it's a possibility. It's in the graveyard.
Let's see. What are we?
Theirs is Basalt Monolith. Do these players have an answer to Basalt?
Force
Doesn't
of
look like. I
Will.
think everyone's out of cards, unless these last two cards in Dargo Thrasios blue card force. It is blue card force.
I love the
Wow.
ever so slight delay that you're in, and it's chef's kiss.
Incredible.
Dargo Thras had they exiled their Kinnan. They exiled their Kinnan in order to cast Force of Will and save the game. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Moonsilver Key could get you Treasure Ball. That is true.
No, it cannot. It can. Oh yes, it's an artifact.
Get artifacts. Sorry.
I keep on forgetting it's a darn artifact.
That's the thing I keep forgetting.
You
I
can
know
get it, right?
What's up?
You're able to get it, right? Because it's an artifact?
Yeah, it is an artifact. Yeah. It is. I keep on forgetting that it is an artifact, and instead of it being just a land, it's so potent. Looks like we killed the Kinnan on. Oh, we swung over at Sanguine with Endurance, and Sanguine blocked with Kinnan. Devastating. Everyone is trying to swing at him, and I think he has to fall this turn, right? Because
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I think it's short-sighted. I think it's short-sighted to kill Sanguine. You need the Notion Thief to keep Greater Good in check.
Depends on what Borby has. If Borby has the win here, then Borby declares attack, discard the land, kills that, and then maybe he combos off if he has it. If he doesn't have it, then yes, absolutely. You gotta wait another turn.
I would be keeping Sanguine alive. I don't know how Borborygmos wins through this presently, especially when you can't loop the Borborygmos to draw cards. Maybe you kill him and go off second main phase. But
because Borborygmos itself does not have trample. Right. It does have a 2/2 bird up in the air, which is it's the easiest kill. It's right there.
Yeah, you crash in for 2 if you can win second lane, for sure.
The terrifying thing after that is, what does Dargo draw after sacrificing Dargo to Greater Good in order to try to thwart your own win attempt there?
Do you do that on their turn? It's tempting to draw the cards immediately, but you also aren't going to be able to loop the Dargo in the same way that you could otherwise.
Depends on what you have in hand. If there's a light at the end of the tunnel and it's immediately quenched by the Borby Fibble by just having it in hand, then there isn't anything you can do. There's the Curiosity coming down. We're trying to see more cards with the bird.
Yeah.
Gearing up to push into
That's
combat.
where we're going.
Looks like we're going to try to see if we can find a way to win the game here, because Dockside is still on the battlefield, and your most mana intensive opponent is still Kinnan. Is it Kinnan anymore? I don't think it is.
I mean, you have to attack the resources of the person who's next in line to beat you, and that's currently Dargo Thrasios. Kinnan's in a winning position, knowing that they have the Basalco countered. I don't know. I think you go outside of the Dargo Thrasios player. They're next in line, and they are presenting a win sooner rather than the Kinnan player.
Thinking to see if he actually wants to commit to the play. Oh man, if you just have Curiosity on your creature, that is such a risky play there.
Just real quick, sorry.
Heavy discussion going on between the table over here. Back and forth. When it will stop, we'll know here in about 2 to 3 minutes. Let's see. We appreciate we appreciate all the kind words for the commentary team. Great thanks to Cop for covering the first half of the day. Glad I was able to slide on in here. Lauren's been here all day, just talking his heart out about Magic the Gathering and cEDH in particular, a format that he loves so much. So a huge shout out to all the casting crew here that's done well so far. Looks like they were showing hands, and it's like, yeah, the only known card that you know in my hand right now is a Spellseeker, of which he revealed from a Thrasios trigger earlier in the game. We're trying to find out a bit more with the rest of the table. We're trying to see where the rest of the table ends up here, because if Borby does go for the kill here and then draw a card, then maybe it does wins. And maybe he does just win the game here with the other cards that he has in hand and the card he draws from the Curiosity.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Trying to, or getting praise from the chat, of which I tip my hat to them. Quite literally, literally and what's the other term? Well, man.
Figuratively?
Yes, figuratively. Thank you. I haven't even been doing this for 8 hours, and you've been a trooper doing it all day long. 8.5 hours coming up here. Whew. Hats off to you, my friend. Back and forth with more comment, with more discussion. You cannot kill Sanguine here unless you know for a fact that the top deck card of your deck is a winning card. And your Worldly Tutor is already gone, right?
Yeah, without knowing what's in hand, I mean, if you don't have a win, you don't kill Sanguine. You need Sanguine around. You need the Dargo Thrasios player to devote resources to killing Sanguine.
All right. However, looks like we're swinging out here. We're committing with the bird with Curiosity, and you have to use this bird to swing into Sanguine, because otherwise Sanguine will draw a card, and maybe he'll become a turn closer to winning the game.
Yeah, you'll kill Sanguine and draw a card off of that attack.
Blocking the Spirit with the Notion, or blocking the Dockside with the Notion Thief.
Yeah, gonna die anyway. That makes sense.
Why did Dargo?
Oh, because Borby.
What's up?
How does Borby trigger in order to remove Dargo? I swear, I reread this commander like 3 or 4 times, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, I've been looking at that card multiple times all day now. I still have no idea what that card does.
Oh, I see. Okay, blocked with Notion Thief to stay alive for 1 more turn. Because they only swung Dockside at it. They only swung Dockside instead of the bird to allow him to stay in the game 1 more time. But because Notion Thief is off the table, we're back at it with greater good. We drew our cards, we discarded our cards right away, which is very hasty on the Dargo player's part. Could have absolutely waited a little bit longer in order to continue the discount chain that Dargo players love to get into. They love to get into that groove of using 1 mana to draw 7 cards and discard 3. Oh no. And lost to the Mana Crypt roll. Rest in peace, Sanguine.
All right. So I think that's unlocked Dargo Thrasios at this point.
Especially with the greater good on the battlefield. Like you're going to discard more cards, but you can absolutely sacrifice Dockside in order to make it cheaper. Because if I recall correctly, you can only sacrifice artifacts to Dargo to make it cost cheaper, right?
Artifacts and creatures.
Oh, you can do both. Okay.
And it counts the amount of things previously sacked. So Mox Amber's 3. You can sack the Dockside 4 or 5. Crack a Treasure 6, 7, 8. And then tap the land. Oh, you can sack the Mana Vault.
Mm-hmm, correct. But however, it does look like we got a flash of that hand there. There's a Jeweled Lotus in hand, which is essentially a free Dargo. Gets you 5 mana into Dargo. Oh, Jeweled Lotus is such a good card.
You need 9 total right now. 2 of which is going to come from the Mana Crypt. The Mana Vault.
And then the other 2 will come from sacrificing the Dockside Extortionist.
We had a Final Fortune cast by the Borborygmos and Fblthp player. So we are in business a little bit, especially because the Dargo Thras player was a little hasty in sacrificing their Dargo.
Oh, wow.
They might be able to run away with this. D&T wins this if they can. Yeah, I think so, Baron.
Yeah, this is such a risky play because if they don't win here, then absolutely Dargo Thrasios will come in.
Wheel?
Transmute Artifact? Is that Transmute Artifact?
That is a no. That's a Spell Seeker.
I really need to study my magic.
Well, I guess there's so many Magic the Gathering arts anymore. It's ridiculous to even try to keep up with it. Like, why on earth would you try to keep up with all this stuff? It's crazy. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Coming up here, Spell Seeker. Potentially, we used up Neoform. We used up Finale already. We used up Gamble. All of those cards are in the bin and or exiled. What's next? Did we? No, we didn't use. Did we use Court of Calling already?
Not from Borborygmos and Fblthp. I'm curious though if they have a breach in hand. If they're grabbing a Brain Freeze. I don't know how the loop keeps going though. They might be grabbing a wheel just to try as a Hail Mary. If you think you're losing, it makes sense to Final Fortune.
Spellseeker is definitely a draw of the year.
Oh, you can't get a wheel. It has to be 2 or less.
Yeah, it has to be exactly Brain Freeze. Thinking or pondering, trying to find a way out. Because we can't do Final Fortune. Born would also just be bad right here. Mystical Tutor is just a top deck tutor. Cyclonic Rift is too slow.
A Cyclonic Rift doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think there. I think because of the way that this gameplay played out, because even Manamorphose is gone. Remember, Manamorphose was cast very early on in this game in order to get the Dockside on the battlefield. And that was exiled by the Thrasios Vial deck in order to go through their crazy turn sequence there.
You can get a Mystical Tutor and crack the top deck with a swing.
Mystical Tutor for Horde? But that seems bad.
Mystical Tutor for something, put it on top of your library, and then you crack it with the Borborygmos or the Spirit.
Artifact count on the battlefield is currently 5. Not really a great place in order to try to run for a Dockside loop. Dockside's still even in the bin. I don't even know what you would... Oh my goodness. Confuddling conundrum here. This deck really is just, this deck really looks like Dockside, like I played Dockside. I tried to win the game in a much similar, not in the similar sense of Corefold, but in the sense that it relies heavily on one card in the entire deck.
Again, that card is format warping. It's like a broken record.
I think the bigger format warping card was Orcish Bowmasters, which just instantly destroyed any hopes that X1s stay on the battlefield. Like, the fact that we cannot have any 1 toughness creatures in this format it's kind of ridiculous. But at the same time, they were also running out of uses for themselves because of cards like Drannith Magistrate and stuff like that.
Hey, chat, can you guys tell that I don't like Drannith Magistrate? It's not a bad card. It's not even a ban-worthy card. I just don't like it.
Yeah, we need Platinum Angel back in cEDH. That's correct, Captain World Support. I missed. What did we grab? We grabbed a Noxious Revival.
Fluster?
Targeting. Okay. They just are dying?
Yeah. What?
It's getting mental misstepped anyway, getting flustered.
Getting Dockside back to top deck. And then, yeah, just no cards in hand. Go to combat, swing, replay Dockside, and lose.
Draw 2 cards.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, this is not looking good.
Yeah, I am curious if there's just a Hail Mary trying to advance their board state as much as possible before dying.
To the people in the chat saying Drannith should be getting banned, Drannith is far from yes, it's against the spirit of the format that the magical words that people toss around. But at the same time, it also dies to Lightning Bolt, to Doomblade, just enough removal spells.
Wait,
I just don't like it because I can never draw a removal at the proper time.
Who's playing Doomblade in cEDH?
I don't know. It's your generic argument of, it dies. I can play stuff again.
I have not played Doomblade since, let me think, Zendikar Standard.
Oh, jeez.
The last time I resolved that card.
Final Fortune. Trigger goes on the stack. Borby is unfortunately eliminated. My boy. He came so far.
Great run in a deck that I did not think had the legs.
He tried to win 3 different ways that entire game and just got thwarted on all 3. And it was crazy to see it just try to be so resilient in the face of all these other decks.
Yeah, it's potent. It's powerful.
Mm-hmm. But we're going into Untap. We're drawing here. And already played the Jewel Lotus, sacrificed the Jewel Lotus. We have 3 colored mana floating, 3 mana that can go into, or not 3 mana. 2 other mana that goes into Dargos.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Dargo.
And there we go. We're sacrificing a lot of cards here. We sacrificed 3 cards for a total cost reduction of 9, actually.
Hold on. I think they should have tapped the Tropical Island and not the Mox Diamond, because now you don't have access to red to recast the Dargo.
Maybe that's what we're hoping here for. Maybe we're hoping for a bounce spell. That's not what they might have. They might have a bounce spell in hand to try. Well, they don't have the red to recast Dockside. Wow.
Did they use that mana floating?
They must have in order to cast Dargo.
He has red.
Oh wait, no, there's still one more red. But there's a
it.
flesh duplicate copying Dockside Extortionist. That's what they removed the dice for.
That actually doesn't help them out a whole lot more, though, does it? It allows them to draw 2 more cards, or 14 more cards, hypothetically?
Yeah. Drawing 14 cards is pretty good.
Otawara!
Otawara!
Wow.
That's the greater good!
So good.
That is not Ottawa.
What is that?
Is that
March of Swirling Mist.
Oh,
Gotcha.
it's March. Okay.
Love to see it. Phasing it out.
Yeah, we're phasing out the dockside extortionist. Got it. Or is it? Yeah, March is only creatures.
All right. It chose to play me ads about sensitive dry eye relief. Okay. Got to get through these.
Gee, I wonder why that's targeted. I josh. I kid.
All right. We are back now. Okay. So we have a 2-player game.
Phased out phased out the dockside. What does
Phased
it
out
come
the
in as a
dark
copy
side.
as? Endurance.
Endurance.
Target your own graveyard? Because you definitely don't want to shuffle in Kinnan's graveyard.
Yeah, I imagine endurance, if anything, you target your own.
It came in as something, but we don't know what that something is.
Might be a May, it might just still be an endurance, and they elected to not evoke it.
Is it an
I'm sorry,
trigger to shuffle in?
I believe so.
Ah, that's interesting. Endurance. Oh, no, it's up to 1 target player. So it didn't target a player. Got it. That's how that works. Yes. Good job, blind Carl. You are definitely not blind because you could read the card much a bit faster than I can. Good. Trying to figure out how to win the game from here. Still have one Dargo mana floating, and then 1 red. There's the last of the Dargo mana from the Jeweled Lotus coming into the battlefield. Sacrificing it, drawing more cards.
All right. Love to see it. It's going to be tough, though, if you can't piece together the win from here. You're going to be hard-pressed to be able to recast that Dargo later on.
Mm-hmm.
See what we're getting. Discarding a lot of lands. Discarded the Basalt. Your Kinnan's already in exile. Discarding more lands.
Hey, come here. Can you see it? That's a good boy. Can you come chair? My doggy is getting antsy. Lion's Eye Diamond. Gets you more mana for Dargo, but there is the gamble. We're getting somewhere.
We're gambling for breach. Let's see this happen. The game might be ending.
This is a game-winning turn right here, right now. We're seeing it all hammer out here. I've actually been testing. What's up?
I said, how many cards in hand? What are the odds?
Let's see. So they drew stuff. Their odds are probably ridiculously high. It has to be ridiculously high, right?
Barone probably shouldn't have cast the other dude before breach. Yeah, I think you keep breach and pedal in hand to increase your odds. Looks like 5 cards in hand, so you have an 80% chance of winning the game here.
I like those odds. 9 cards in hand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you're totally fine. You have like a 12.5% chance of losing.
And there's the Eldritch Evolution. We have a breach, and old fellow gatherers, old fellow planeswalkers, magicians. We have our first winner of the Arcane Series, brought to you by Combat Step.
Yeah, hell of a win. Breach is good. Play your cards. Excellent. Excellent navigation of this board state. Took 2 of your opponents dying, but you got there. Looks like the concessions are happening now. Yeah, you have the gamble in the yard. You hit the gamble for the brain freeze away. You've won the game.
Congratulations to Snaz for bringing Dargo here and playing, having a very good day coming into this event. Ended up the day with 11 points, snuck right into the top 4 with his win in the 4th round, and was just able to perform to the best of his abilities.
Yeah, that was a great showing from Dargo Thrasios. That deck is a force to be reckoned with. Winning in seat 4, very patient player, played out their pieces, set up the win for themselves. The first champion of the Arcane Series is Snazerific, excuse me. 11 points in Swiss. That means they were 2-1-1 in Swiss, 1 in top 4. So 3-1-1 on the day, winning the title of the first champion. That was sick. Love to see it. If we're wrapping up, my name's Lauren, also known as MTG Hot Dog at MTG_hotdog on Twitter. I'm a tournament grinder. I do work for Eminence Gaming. I have a podcast called Punt Pals. I'm sponsored by Propaganda MTG, and I was your caster for all the rounds today of the Combat Step. Thank you so much for listening. Combat Step, Jakes, thank you so much for having me. Greatly appreciated. It was an absolute pleasure to cast this event, and I'm looking forward to many more of your tournament series, and to have this be the first one of 2024, Dargo Thrasios winning a deck that I love and am passionate about, an absolute treat to see.
Yes, and I just want to say thank you to everybody watching. Thank you to our amazing judge. Thank you to the amazing casters we had. Everybody did an amazing job for our first event, and this, I want to stress, could not have been successful without each and every one of you playing the parts you did, from our judge being very prompt and very fair to the players as they were going through different rulings. Our casters were doing an amazing job keeping up with the different tournaments and keeping up with me as one pod ended and I just jumped into another pod. They just kind of rolled with it and went from one thing to the next, and the conversations were just amazing. Thank you to everyone watching. We truly, from the bottom of our heart, could not have done this without each and every one of you, whether you were watching in spirit or you were playing or you were part of the casting and staff that we had. And of course, also very big thank you to our players, and congratulations to our very first winner, Snazerific.